blood vessel was known as an aneurysm, which burst inside my brain and went into a deep coma from May 4th, 1989 till July 14th, 1989, 2.5 months. After coming out of my coma, I lost everything. I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything for that matter.
My ex was coming home at the time, and I had a really bad headache, I told him. And by the time we got over to the hospital, I had already vomited and stuff. And he took me to the hospital, and because I had such a bad headache, they checked me out and realized that I had a brain aneurysm. And while they were trying to save my life, a blood clot got through, and I had a stroke. The first blood clot dissolved. The second one didn't. That's how I had my stroke. Well, I couldn't go from one room to another room and remember what I went to one room for. I used to have to wear Post-it notes on my clothes. Like if they sent me to find somebody, go find so-and-so, I had to write it down because I couldn't remember where I was going. I went through cognitive and what's the other one? All of them. Speech, cognitive, and I had to learn to walk all over again with a gait belt and all that. I can remember telling them that you walk normal. I said, because someday I want to walk normal.
I received my TBI in 2006 when I had a car accident. A lady hit me head on. I woke up in the hospital after 4 days. I went through a bunch of stuff where they put me through, they thought I had severe depression, and they gave me all kinds of medications for that. It wasn't until a little while afterwards that when they finally diagnosed me with a traumatic brain injury that we really found out what was going on. It's horrendous. You have to wait 2.5 years and being misdiagnosed and treated for severe depression and being told that you're manic depressive and everything else, and it's not even the case.
I had my first one and didn't know there was anything. It was a doozy, as if any car accident isn't a doozy one. They were all car crashes, and the last one I've had, it was in my early 30s. And each one was, but it wasn't recognized until, March of 2002, that I finally landed in Sunnyview in Schenectady, where it was diagnosed there. I hadn't any idea the journey ahead of me, that I was basically having gone from 90 miles an hour with life previously, I was down to about 5. And all I knew in front of me was blank. I hadn't really any idea what was in front of me, because by the time I came out of that fog, out of that depression, what re-emerged was somebody that I didn't even recognize.
One minute, I was in college, a varsity gymnast for the University of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a whiz at the computers. The next thing I know, I was not expected to live.
I was married. Well, I couldn't have any kids of my own. I'm 3 adopted. They are all half biological brothers. I would open up a daycare and greet the parents and kids. And then when someone else came in, I would go grocery shopping and get the food for the menu. And I'd come back and I'd cook. And I met a lot of interesting people that way. And the kids all loved me. Oh, Miss Connie.
Used to work before the accident, and after the accident I couldn't work anymore. The doctor pretty much took me right out. I was was a heavy equipment operator. And before that, I was a rancher, and before that, I was a truck driver.
And that all stopped?
It all stopped.
To my photography, there was numerous various jobs that I held. That I was a commercial producer for Saratoga for what is now Cablevision. I mean, rather Time Warner Time Warner. It wasn't under that name back when I was working there. Worked for an independent TV company called N.Y.S Productions. Worked for Image Photo and was the black and white lab technician there for a while. And I ended up living in Baltimore for 10 years and did a wide variety of, of all things, I was a radio operator. Was a nanny, did a magazine distribution job. So yeah, I had a full life going on.
My problems for myself, I find, is that I'm able to read okay now. I used literacy volunteers help me to read years ago. My problem now is my writing is still very, very bad because I can't really spell anything anymore. I spell things phonetically, or I forget what I'm writing about, and things like that. But I would like to get back into the writing field.
Organizational skills, word finding, being in a large group of people. I mean, this conference here that I am usually completely wiped out by the end of a day like today because crowds of people. It's cut down majorly on my social life that I can't be in a group of people having in their own independent conversations for more than about 15-20 minutes, and then I'm done. My startle reflex, or the nervous system, is very highly strung. That when there's enough startling going on throughout the course of the day, by the end of the day, I'm just not physically flatline per se, but it's where I'm trying to. It just doesn't, I'm not very functional.
Short-term memory loss, very agitated. I have a hard time trying to keep focused on things. I used to get angry real quick, but that's changed since my medications and stuff. Used to work before the accident, and after the accident I couldn't work anymore. The doctor pretty much took me right out.
My long-term ambition is to let the word out that there is help out there for those with a traumatic brain injury, because many people, if it's not a serious traumatic brain injury, or they might not find out about it until later on, they have a little accident from a car accident, or and they say, oh, their heart hurts, but they're okay. Maybe a couple of days later they go home, and all of a sudden they realize, I forgot what I was doing, they're losing things around themselves, they can't read very good anymore, they've lost some of their skills, and they find out about it. They need to get onto a waiver program so that they can get the help that they need. And many people that I've talked to also do have a problem also with the stress, sadness, and so on. My hopes is to know that there is help out there for those with a traumatic brain injury. And the most part is, how do you find the services that are needed for those people?
So that people would know that you don't have to have a blow to your head to have a brain injury. You can suffer a brain injury being a football player. You don't have to have a blow to your head. You don't have to be in an automobile accident. Or you don't have to be run over or anything, That's why I joined the advocacy group.
As a result of all this, you've become really passionate, I guess is one word to use, but you're
To become an advocate. I would like the people to know that there's help out there. And it can be found through N.Y.S, Brain Injury Association of New York State. But there's a lot of help out there. I want to reach out to them. I'm trying to do an outreach program with a lot of the doctors and stuff too that I want to try to get to. I want to, I don't know how to say, make sure they're aware of N.Y.S itself so that they will diagnose and properly diagnose those head injuries.
I'm a part of the advocacy group, which is that has been one of my dreams, actually one of my goals, that as I became a veteran of attending the conferences, that I thought I've got quite a bit to share. I just wasn't quite sure the focus of what and how to give in that regard, but I knew that I wanted in some fashion to be able to give a presentation of some kind at the conference, and lo and behold, be careful what you wish for. God just might end up giving it to you, and that goal has now come to pass.